Good morning, everybody. It's Mallory Smythe on behalf of Endow. A few years ago, I remember listening to a story about some holy priests and a holy bishop who were talking about the problems in the church today. And one of the priests asked the bishop, how can we ensure that change comes to our church and that she can be truly holy 100% again? And the bishop responded to the priest. He said, your canonization will ensure that change comes to the church. Brothers and sisters, it has been an incredibly heavy time as a Catholic. The reports that came out last week and the reports of Cardinal McCarrick have yet again revealed that the face of evil thrives in the rankings of our church. And I think there are not actually words to describe the feeling that most of us feel. The feeling that we have felt when we have heard of these details that have a true face, a creative evil, a deliberate evil that has been shown. This face matches the devil himself, who said that he would come to kill, steal, and destroy the bride of Christ. And in light of all of this, we must be ready for battle, because God answers the crises of his church with saints. See, St. Francis of Assisi, during the Protestant Reformation, when there was much corruption in the church, many probably of the same things we're seeing today, St. Francis of Assisi became a saint, and he caused reform. He was a reformer from within, making the church holier. St. Catherine of Siena was the same thing. She was a saint during the Black Plague. She was a saint whenever the Pope had left Rome and gone to Avignon, and there was much corruption in the church. And she herself was so holy that she became canonized, and her boldness actually helped single-handedly to change the church. And her letters that we still have to Pope Gregory were incredibly bold. She called him to be the hero that he was meant to be. She called him to be the person who protected the church the way God asked him to. And here are some of the words from her letters. Here she says, I tell you in the name of Christ crucified that you must use your authority. You are in charge of the garden of the Holy Church. So uproot from that garden the stinking weeds of impurity and avarice, and bloated with pride. Use your authority, you who are in the church are in charge of us. Uproot these weeds and throw them out where they will have nothing to administer. She was so bold. She humbly knew what holiness looked like, and so she called not only those around her, but the church leaders to actually exemplify that holiness. And Pope Gregory went back to Rome, and he started to clean things up because this woman used her feminine genius to do so. There was another quote she also said to Pope Gregory that I think really we should just think about and meditate on in our own lives. She said, you cannot be courageous and come to the help of the Holy Church unless you first make war with the world, the devil, and the flesh. The world, the devil, and the flesh. And so in light of everything, my question for myself and my question for you is, are you making war with the world, the devil, and the flesh? Are you fighting the attachments you have to the world that would pull you from knowing God? Are you warring with the devil who wants to steal, kill, and destroy you as well? And are you fighting your flesh that wants to gravitate towards those first two things? Are you chasing after God with abandon? Do you desire to become a saint? I know in my own life, many days, I don't desire to become a saint. And yet it is my canonization that will help to change the church and help bring us out of this crisis. And it is your canonization that will help to bring this church out of crisis. And so with that in mind, I invite you to chase after God with everything you have, to become so holy that you can come to the help of the Holy Church. We as laymen and women have the power to demand holiness from our priests and our bishops. We can ask boldly, as St. Catherine of Siena asked, that they weed out the evil 100%, and they become the heroes that God has asked them to be in their ordination. And so we are sad with you this week. We are hurt, and yet there is hope, and that hope lies in our own sainthood, in our own boldness, in our own courage that is lifted up by God the Father, that has been won for us by Jesus Christ, and that is continued on by the work of the Holy Spirit. So this week, if you want to chase after God with everything you have, we invite you to dive into one of our studies on former saints and on the teachings of the church at www.endowgroups.org. You can connect with us @endowgroups on Instagram and Facebook, and you can connect with me at Mallory A. Smythe on Instagram. Have a great week and become a saint. Your church needs you.